It's an exciting day today. I have my newest launch with Creative Expressions. So I've got some new stamp designs to share with you. And if you stick around for a bit longer, I've also got some ideas to share using my previous collection as well. And I love to be able to mix and match different collections that I've got. The dies especially are a great staple piece to have in your collection. So yeah, let's just jump in. So I have 3 new A5 clear stamp sets that you can see in front of you, and then I've got 2 background stamps as well. So the first collection here is called Parisian Lace Chronicles. Now this is just sort of very French inspired, some nice collage elements, some lace, a couple of sentiments and things. There's the code there. I'm going to list all the names and the codes down in the description box below. So this is what the stamp set looks like. So they're obviously a lot larger than what they represent on the front. But to show you an idea, these are some cards that I've put together, but these can obviously be used within journals as well. So I've kind of wanted to show them as a sample card, but also, bearing in mind these are geared for journalers as well, the mixed media artists. So here I've used that really pretty collage of the lady, the stamp that says a letter from Paris. And then from my previous collection of dies, I've actually used, this is one of my lace dies. Try and not get the glare on it. This one's called Francesca, it's a lace doily die. And as you can see, I've just sort of inked it up with distress inks then, and I've just layered it with some vintage tulle. I've got an old bus ticket here, some stamps from the collection. And then along the bottom, I've die cut this lace die, which is the Victorian lace die. It's quite a large die if I show you from the back. And I've just die cut that from some old book paper and just laid it at the bottom. It just adds a really nice little detail there. So there's the first card I wanted to show you. Oh, and I should also mention that this is from my layered and ripped papers die. So this is the oval shaped. So none of these are symmetric. They're meant to look like ripped papers and things. So I use these quite a lot in layering. So I've just die cut that main image out there. Moving on, we have, I know how popular my dates from the past stamp sets are. So I'm now proud to present signatures from the past 1 and 2. So I'm really excited about these. I've actually had quite a few people ask me for signature stamps. So, of course, I start looking through my ephemera and I find so much more stuff than what I could fit on an A5 plate. So forgive me, but there are 2 sets of these. So I've really tried to give you such a variety of sort of what would be on like someone's writing desk or an office desk or something. So there's a lot of sort of postage-y related things, filed, registered, identification. Like I said, there's signatures, original signatures from my stash. You got Sylvia White there, John Berry. There's all sorts really. And then I've also included little foliage elements. These are all separate numbers that you can stamp inside the circle. And then special delivery, a wages thing. So you can create all of your own sort of ephemera with these really, or just add in to your existing ephemera if you've just got blank sort of ledger sheets or stuff like that. So again, this set's also got more signatures on as well. So there's a mixture of male and female signatures. Some more sort of decorative elements, place stamp here. There's an absolute variety of things and different countries as well. So you've got Piccadilly, London. This is an American one. There's quite a few different things. Another London one up here as well. And there's some obviously that are French as well. A lot of the dates and things are actually from original French documents as well. So on to samples. Like I said, you can create your own you know, ephemera for your journals or for card making. So this is just basically postage stamp, a case file, a number, received, orders by post promptly executed. That's also part of one of the sets. And then obviously your postage stamp on there. So it's just a matter of collaging and layering. And there's a nice little ephemera piece there. And then this one is from one of my dies that I brought out in 2021, but I believe you can still get hold of it. It's my vintage slide die. So this is quite a much bigger slide than the Tim Holtz one. I believe his is a little bit smaller. But this is the slide that I brought out a few years ago now, and I've used it as a bit of a identification sort of card. So I've just used one of my ephemera pieces. I've actually stamped Elsa, her signature there, and then some of the foliage elements as well, and then, you know, dates as well. I just thought that was quite fun, just to play around with the slide. And then I've created some more sort of identification cards as well. This one kind of looks like she's maybe been a bit naughty, shall we say. She's been filed. And so is this lady here. But just to give you an idea of, you know, what fun little piece of ephemera you can create with these. And then, so for instance, there's another one here. I'm going to come back to this card in a moment, but this is a piece of ephemera that I've created. So it's paid, and then there's the signatures as well. Okay, so going back to the A6 stamps, these are the Math Notes and the Vintage Plume. So these are actually rubber as well. I love this one. It's a French sort of themed bird. And if I show you my sample card here, I really enjoyed playing with this. I actually coloured it with just pencils, just to create them sort of flicks of different greens and blues. But you can colour this bird any colour you like, obviously. Some more ephemera pieces. A letter from Paris. That's from the Parisian lace stamp set. And then I've added some ruffles at the bottom just for a bit of interest. Down the side here, I've actually used the lace and just kept stamping all the way down the side. And then I added another date there as well. So really just quite a fun card, but like I said, this can be obviously incorporated into a journal. It could be a front cover of a journal if you wanted. And you know, you can experiment with colouring this a totally different way if you wanted to, maybe just sepia tones. But I decided to go with sort of the aqua sort of greens, which is really nice and brightly coloured. And I've just used distress inks, and I've faded it to white at the bottom. So there's the skyline in the background there, and it's just faded down to white. I really love how that card came out. And then, as I said, there's a Math Note background stamp. So this is a great generic stamp that could be used for anything taken from original ephemera that I own. And, you know, it's a great stamp for just creating backgrounds with adding that little bit of interest, but not necessarily meaning anything. So in the background, you can see that I've used it here, just lightly stamped, and it just takes that interest from being a plain, you know, blue coloured card to, having some interest. I need to glue that down. So I really love that stamp as well, because it's quite a good one for a, you know, staple sort of background. And the way that I like to use stamps like this normally is that I ink it up and I don't bother putting it on a acrylic block. I like to just pounce with my two fingers, just randomly different parts of it, so you get that purposely like half finished distress look. So that's what I tend to do with these kind of background stamps. I thought I would just tell you a little bit about these dies actually, because I don't think I actually told you about the previous release a couple of months ago, which was sort of botanical themed. So I'm just going to sort of spin off into a different collection at the minute, but I thought because these all work so well together, why not show them all together. So a couple of months ago I had a release of botanical themed dies. So this is the one that I've used in the sample. It's a hedgerow thistle. So I've actually coloured it completely different in this one. I've just used botanical stains to colour these in. So you can see completely, just a non-focal element to a very focal element, just depending on the colour really. And then within that collection there was also the Woodland Fern and the Queen Anne's Meadow. I love these dies. I mean, it's quite a large die, the Fern. I've just brought out another card just to share with you how I've used it. So I've got the Fern all coloured up in the background there with botanical stains. I've done some stamping on top of it, just very lightly. And then these are elements from some of the previous collection of rubber stamps, which I'll show you in a minute. I've used one of my Mosaic dies as well. I'm going to come back to that. And then here again is that one that I just showed you on the other card. So if I go to the stamps, let's have a look. So I haven't taken these out of the packaging, but I'll try and do this without glare. So this is the Botanical Collage. So it's just a really nice background stamp for, building up a bit of interest, from what would have been a very plain background to something really interesting. This one's in clear. And then we have the Bee Keeper. I love this lady. She was very obviously bee orientated, but I loved adding these little typewriter quotes to it, and then there's tiny bees to add in the background. These are nature's magicians. If I just share a sample card with you. And I've done this one all sort of purple. I've actually added a bit of glitter to the flowers and things. This die is out of the Ripped Papers die. So it's this one here. Like I said, I really like to mix and match all my dies and things. And then some of these dies are from my own stash. But this Honeycomb die is also one of mine. So the Rustic Honeycomb, which is about an A6 sort of size, maybe a little bit taller. And that's a great, layering piece as well, really. So, moving on, I've also got this stamp set. So this is the Faded Flora, sorry. And again, these are all very sort of collage-y in style. You've got the splatters there. I've used that splatter just at the top there, just adds a little bit of interest. I've used let me find my sample card. So I really like the pansy image on here, just sort of collage-y, and it's a really petite sort of size. So I've used this as my focal image. I've used the laid Ripped Papers die, just to die cut that there. And then these are the background dies that I used, which I will show you in a second. Here we go. Sorry, I've got so much stuff on my desk. So these were released a couple of months ago. So Artisan Mosaic 1 and 2. So these can be die cut into paper, or you can die cut with the added cutting outer edge as well, so you can have it as a single piece. I really enjoy using these to cut into my paper, and all I've done with this one is taken one of the dies and I've actually run it through twice. I've just flipped it upside down. So I believe it is this one here. So I've just basically die cut it through my machine, turned it round and die cut it again to get the top and the bottom. And then I've just tied it with some twine. In the background here is the one of the Botanical stamps. She said she can't find it now. Is it this one? I'll find that in a minute. But yeah, so just building up layers in the background. This math note one would be a great one for that as well. So yeah, that's that stamp set. I really love the little typewriter fonts as well in there. And then there is a journal notes one. This is like a ledger sort of style. So you can see that in the background of this. And all I've done is stamped it and cut it out. And then the butterfly here, I've actually stamped a couple of times, cut them out and coloured and then put glossy accents on top just to give them that sort of sheen and really pop on the card. There's the mosaics again. Another background stamp. I've got the hydrangea sort of skeleton images. So again, this is a rubber stamp, so this is great for that pouncing technique where you get part of the design, not the full design, depending on the look that you're going for. I love that stamp. Then you've got Meadow Beauty. I showed these on my Instagram not that long ago, I think, and I really love the smallness of the designs. So these are sort of like collaged. You've got some nature quotes here, and then you've got obviously these lovely flowers which you could pop into the little measuring cup there. These are just some ephemera that I was creating and just sort of adding on top of, original ephemera that is from my stash. These are just sort of little journal note cards. There's a little tag here that I made, and that's that butterfly again. And I've just partly stamped from that ledger. So you don't have to use the entire thing. You can just use parts of the stamp. And then there's also another stamp set with some mushrooms and bees and things, and again more sentiments, more of the typewriter sentiments as well. So I've got this card here to show. So I've just stamped that as my focal. I've just used a postage die cut from my stash, and then you can see the butterfly wing with the key. I've stamped it up there, and then I've turned it upside down and stamped it at the bottom, and I've just sort of collaged really. This is that stamp, just some ephemera and some lace and things like that, and then the quote at the top. And then also with that stamp set, I actually started a journal with it. I never finished it. It's not even actually bound yet, but I wanted to show you the front of the journal. So I created like a faux sort of cabinet card frame. So this is layered pieces of original ephemera, so newsprints and book papers and all that. I've decoupaged it onto a sheet of card, so it's all completely mixed matched, and then I've die cut my layered ripped papers, and I've put the oval with this outer piece. I'll show you. So this piece here and this piece here I've layered up to create that panel, and obviously you don't have to have the oval, you can have the circle if you wanted to as well. So that was the sort of just a framing of the front cover. And then I've used the mushroom, and I've stamped it twice. So I've stamped it on the actual the book itself, and then I've stamped it again on another piece of card, cut it out and stuck it on top. Here I've just stapled on some of the elements from the stamp sets. Like I said, this isn't actually a complete journal, but I just thought I would share, how these elements can be used in a journal, not just a card. Here's some of the stamps from this one, the Meadow Beauty, and they're just stamped inside the measuring cup, and then this is just a little side tuck, basically. I don't know if there's anything else. Oh yes, there is. This is the journal notes. Just created sort of a little journal card. So I've just picked a really light colour and stamped it I think I actually sprayed it with water before I stamped it, so it gives it that really mottled, faded effect. Because obviously I want to be able to use this to write on top of. And then I've added a little pressed flower, and then the word memories, which is out of one of these sets as well. Which one is it? One of these sets. Yeah, one of these sets has memories on it somewhere. I'll come back to that. So yeah, there's and the basis of this journal is using papers from a paper pad that I also launched. So I've got a paper pad which is 8x8, which is called Shabby Botanicals. And they're double-sided sheets. I've got 6 different designs and 4 sheets of each, and they're double-sided, like I said, so 24 double-sided papers in total. And these are just a really great sort of beginning base for a card or a journal. So you've got some script, you've got really nice sort of newsprint like adverts, a collage background, you've got a bird sort of image there. Yeah, this is very neutral, so you could stamp extra things on top of it and really customize it. You've got some butterflies and a key. More of a sort of a collage elements there. All these sort of grungy textures. And this paper is like a really smooth matte finish, so it's perfect for stamping on if you wanted to do that. Then you got some ferns and a dragonfly. I love how layered and distressed this one is as well. So yeah, there's lots to play with in there, and that's the base of this journal that I haven't put together. We shall come back to that. Hopefully I'll finish it at some point, but I've just started using some of the pages and then added original ephemera as well in there, tea-dyed paper and things. This is just a little flip out note area, and I've actually stamped one of these images onto a used tea bag, just as, you know, a little bit of interest, and then I've stamped the tag that comes on the tea bag with some numbers, and then I've just sort of collaged with ephemera. So there's so many ways you can use stamps these days. It's let's see, there's another one. I've actually stamped this on some cotton rag vintage paper, and then I've stamped the tag sentiments separately and just put some faux sellotape on there. Yeah, so I hopefully will finish this journal at one point. And then there's this one as well. I really love how that turned out. This again is the journal notes stamp, and I've actually stamped this twice. So I've inked my craft sheet, and I've inked it with a few different colours and sprayed it, and actually stamped my stamp in that and then stamped on the card. So that's the mottled colour effect in the background. And then I've dried that, and then I've gone over the top and stamped it with an archival, like a light grey ink on top. So then you do get the detail. So you've got the detail, and then you've got like a shadowing colour everywhere. So I really liked how that sort of turned out. And then I've obviously added some elements here and just decoupaged a few bits and used a postage die cut. So yeah, I've gone off on a tangent, haven't I, with things I'm showing and telling. Did I show you this one? I've got this one here. This is from the newest collection, so the Parisian lace Chronicles. So I've used this lovely lady down here. And again, this is just a really simple card, but I mean, these stamps don't have to be coloured if you don't want to. They just suit, black and white as they are. And I've just added little gems to the flowers. I've added the quote as well. And if you can see, I've actually stitched the quote to the bottom, so it sort of flaps here. In the background, I've used the math note background paper, background stamp, and then I've just added some vintage buttons at the bottom. So really simple card, but really like how that sort of turned out. So yeah, just recapping the newest collection. It's the Parisian Lace Chronicles. We have Signatures from the Past 1 and 2. And then we have the Math Note. And also the vintage Plume stamp as well. So I really hope you enjoyed my little share today. I say little, it's a longer video than what I planned, but I just really wanted to show you how all these elements can be mixed and matched. And, you know, some of these elements are a real good staple piece, like this one I use a lot. These are some of my newest favourites, Botanicals as well. So yeah, please check out your local retailer for any of these stamps. I'm going to share a link, share the names and codes of all the stamps that I've shown you today and the dies in the description below. And Creative Expressions, they're a wholesale company, but if you go onto their website and you click on a product, then below should be listed all the retailers that have brought that product in. So you should be able to see who's brought it in and who you can obviously get it from. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed today's share, and I will speak to you soon. Bye bye.